Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible. This is a special episode. The gents gather again. Waterlogged Wade runs himself ragged with addiction, captures creatures, and commands smokeless fire. Barefooted Bob plays footsie with Wade and manscapes everywhere but his balls. Mariner Mark manages a wonderful Wadester, plays pyromaniac, and seems to shrink over the episode. From hot tub cams to formalized fart gags. Yes, it's time for the inaugural boat episode. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Well, we've done it.
We've satisfied the requirements. The boat is really trying not to hang out with us.
Who's got the controller for the boat?
It's over there.
Over there. I can get it. You want it?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Zoom it around, baby.
Just move nice and slow.
It's the sitting down that you really got to watch out for. I will say, the hot tub feels pretty good on my back.
I figured it's not waterproof, right?
It's very much not waterproof. Ooh, nice.
Okay, all right.
Nice. Get Wade.
It's trickier than you. Oh. Glad you hit the chest. I was afraid of the spike right in the sternum.
This is sort of like another council episode too, right? So can we make like...
This is where we throw out the Constitution.
Yeah, can we make amendments to the Constitution?
What's wrong with the Constitution?
It has rules. That's very threatening.
It's not how I thought that was going to control it all. I'm stopping. It's just as much stop as I can manage. Are we deciding that that's sort of the deal then?
That was what we decided in the last one. We would have biannual.
Twice a year, which is what we meant.
Biennial.
We meant that.
Yes.
That's what we meant.
That's what we meant. We had the first one. This is the second one of the year. We will be back here again on Christmas.
Ooh, that'll be a fun hot
I thought it was every other year. We're doing it 3 times a year.
Are we always reassembling?
Don't you know what biannual means?
Dude, I didn't even listen the last time we made rules. What makes you think I know what words mean?
Where did we make the rules? Do you remember?
Oh, on paper.
Oh, sorry, everybody.
Bless you. He's allergic to rules.
I don't have a cough button here, or I would have.
Yeah, can you mute next time? Sorry.
Yeah, this is very different because we're in the same place. What was that?
I don't want to do it again because it was supposed to be silent coughing, but it
just in the background of this shot. So yeah, we're here because we promised this. You actually made this rule.
I do like boats.
So this checks out. I feel like when you wake up, you reboot as a human from the get-go, and you just access some memories, and others get flushed into the trash.
You're like Wally when he gets the new circuit board.
Yeah.
I've had to start using the calendar app on my phone to keep track of things because I'm just very busy. And it's like every day, I have no idea what to expect until that alarm goes off. It's like, reminder, in 2 hours you have... It's like, oh man, I got to cancel this other thing I was going to do. That's crazy.
You can. The thing about the calendar app, you could check that in the days prior to.
You think I remember that the day of when I wake up?
Like as you're falling asleep, you could just glance and be like, tomorrow?
I mean, sometimes I do, but sometimes it's just an adventure.
How did you get through college?
I used to be a lot more, well, I wouldn't say organized, but I used to be a lot more put together. And I didn't have as many, like, obligations. Like, I stream a lot. I do still make YouTube videos separately and then the podcast.
Didn't you have a job and college?
Yeah.
You're saying that was less time
somehow
commitment than what you're doing now?
I've got multitask brain now where it's like it's hard for me just to do one thing. I like typically if I'm watching TV, I also have my phone and my tablet. I'm like playing a mobile game, looking through like Twitter or something, and also watching stuff.
I thought you didn't browse Twitter.
My brain is very... No, I do every now and then. And I've also got all the Discord groups I'm in. I'll have ESPN app up.
Good Lord.
That's a lot to do at once. I've heard that's not great for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty evidence of that. I've become Swiss cheese brain.
So... what about cutting back?
Yeah, which of those things do you want to stop doing or do less?
All of it. I want to have more time for like playing basketball and just like, I want to live in life.
I feel like you control that.
Yeah, there's really nothing stopping
you.
you.
I've got a really terrible boss who doesn't let me.
I mean, are you calling us your boss?
Me. I'm putting off my ability to do...
All right, you want to do an exercise? Act like I'm your boss. You tell me all of your grievances about how I'm wronging you and what you want me to change as your boss.
I'm going to need to get back to that because I don't remember.
Well, you just said it. He just said it, all of it. He said all of his grievances just now.
I don't know. Okay, here's the thing. I'm a people pleaser, so I overdo it because I'm always like, someone's like, hey, you want to do this thing? And I'm like, oh, I'm busy, but I could do that day. And then I'm like, well, that was going to be my day off this week, but I guess I just won't have a day off this week. And then notoriously, like, other stuff in life comes up, you know, like family's like, hey, we're going to dinner. It's like, well, I guess we could join. You have a plumber. It's like, oh, I guess we need to get our faucet replaced. They're showing up. So my schedule just gets full and full and full. I have the best of intentions. Every week I go in, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a lot less this week. Like, take this week, for example. Yesterday I didn't stream till 8 o'clock.
Wow.
I've got the day to kind of do whatever. 5:30 in the afternoon, I'm like, man, I kind of feel like playing some Diablo 4. If the new season came out, I'm giving it a try again. I could just stream it. And so I went live at 6 instead of 8 and just worked an extra 2 hours, which I enjoy doing, but like it's still 2 hours away from like doing other things I could be doing. My video game addiction is controlling my life.
I mean, I know about that with like the feeling that you always have to do something. And I don't really have a recipe to fix it, but at the same time, you know, we do have the power to just make our own schedules, and you know, the obligations that we feel pressured upon us can be insurmountable sometimes. But at the very least, the relaxation, like making it more profound or focused, you know, it's kind of weird. You kind of gotta focus to relax properly, as opposed to
it's an activity.
So
You don't relax by doing nothing. You relax by planning to relax and then doing things that are relaxing.
Well, I get heaped with immense amounts of guilt, not externally, internally, whenever I like turn someone down for something and then like I end up doing nothing other than relaxing. I'm like, I guess I could have joined for that, because like here I am just sitting like hanging out watching TV or on the porch or
this 100% won't help you, because I know this is not the issue, but you always say you're a people pleaser. You're people.
But
when does you get pleased by your people pleasing?
So I genuinely do have fun with what I do. It just becomes too much. It's easier said than done, because it's like, what do I cut out? Who do I say no to? Take our friend Ryan, for example. I'm not getting with Ryan in like 2 or 3 weeks, and like every day whenever I have like some free moments, I'm like, I should really ping Ryan to do something, because like I haven't talked to him in like 2 or 3 weeks, but my schedule's still been full because I've been playing games with other people or streaming with other people, recording, whatever. But like in the back of my mind, whenever I do put something off, it's always like, really need to make up for that. And it's just the way my brain works. I don't know. It's always been like that.
Does this come off disingenuous with the three of us talking in a nice hot tub on a lovely summer day in the middle of a weekday?
Even this, okay, so first time we've seen each other in a while, but the first thing we thought to do was like, dude, let's record another episode. Like, our brains are just wired, at least my brain's wired, like, I should be making content of some kind.
Because even when I was like, for the past, obviously, year, I've been super busy, and it gets to the point where I'm not even able to make videos. And when things get that busy, that's how my audience usually knows, oh, there's literally no way. Because I've got to fight through other stuff anyway because I have ADHD. And so just getting organized in the first place, I'm kind of like you with like the scatterbrain. So even my downtime is, my hobbies nowadays, everyone gets so tired of it, but that's how busy I am, is because my hobby becomes an accessory of my work. The lenses aren't just because I'm crazy. No, it's because lenses are a natural extension of movie making, and to understand like the movie making process. The hard drives were not just a random thing I was in. It was because it was about the work. And like lately with the render farm idea that I've started to like look into, again, that's just an association of work. None of them are actually things that I would randomly choose as a passion outside of it. It's all work focused, but it's still kind of fun, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I enjoy it. It's just too much sometimes. Like Tuesdays for me, we get a call sometime between 11 and 12 usually in the afternoon Eastern. We'll record podcasts for anywhere from like 2 to 5 hours depending on the day. And then it's like I'll take an hour break, have food, then I stream for like 3 to 5 hours, and then I record for 3 to 4 hours after that. So I'm usually at my computer from like 11:30 in the morning till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Why?
Just the day that works for people whenever I'm doing stuff.
I mean, I had a baby, so I sort of have a thing that's not work. Do you think there's a thing that you could pick, even if it feels arbitrary, that's like a non-work thing? Because for me, it was my car. And I don't do a lot of car stuff, but like once every couple weeks or once a month, I spend like a good day or a good afternoon just in the garage rolling around, swearing at my car, doing whatever. Do you feel like there's a thing that you would want to try and do that? Just to establish something where it's like, because I don't even, honestly, it's not like I'm obsessed with the car or I don't want to go race or anything. It's just a thing where it's like, I like that. enough that that's a good thing to establish, where there's no way I can make that. I mean, I'm not going to make that into content. Nobody's going to watch me work on a car in a video because I don't know what I'm doing. And so, like, there's no way I can be like, well, I might as well stream this, because that's such a trap.
Yeah.
That's such a bad trap, because you can play Diablo for fun.
I do.
You're allowed to.
I do, and I tweeted, because I want the game to succeed, so I tweeted about it, and I was like, hey, rolling into Season 4, I've not played in a while, I'm hoping it's a good time, so far so good, and then some people replied, and they were like, man, I'd love to see you play it again, and that was like well, I was doing it for fun, but like if you want to see it, like I guess I should, because maybe if I stream it, more people want to play it again, and then they'll like keep going. Maybe they'll make it good like 3, because 3 I thought finished in a great spot. So like 1, they wanted to see it, and 2, I've got that like other motivation of like, well, if more people play it, they'll keep working on it, make it a good game.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to think of it that way. It can be if it becomes detrimental to actual relaxing things you want to do. But I have a strange thing just recently that I realized. Where I think humans just kind of want to keep busy on something and feel satisfied, like it's a puzzle. People like puzzles, that's why they like games. Because recently I was relaxing up in a cabin in the woods, and there was there's a fireplace right there. It had stormed really badly the night before, so it was super wet. Everything was wet, very humid, all the wood was super damp, but I wanted to make a fire. And there was that fire starter like log stuff that I could have used.
That's not fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was cheating.
Yeah.
In my mind, if I used that stuff, I was a quitter and I failed the challenge. So I took all of these really damp pieces of wood and I started like just puzzling how to get it to light. And so from 8 a.m. to about noon, I had been doing nothing but trying to get this fire going. And it was the best way I could have spent a morning. I had so much fun just bashing my head against this. I started like getting like tiny twigs. I would go out and grab smaller and smaller twigs. And then eventually, I don't tell the Airbnb that I stayed at that I did this, but I took one of their knives and I started like trying to shave really thin shavings of wood. And that worked because they were thin enough that I could get a bunch of them together to start the sticks going. And then the sticks were able to actually start to dry out a log, because I got these things to like light, and the log would like kind of start to char a little bit, but only a little bit. It wouldn't catch, and it just wouldn't catch. But only over the course of a few hours did it all kind of accumulate to be dry enough that it actually got going. But once I got it going, I was like, oh, and I don't have a passion for fire. I mean, maybe humans all have a passion for fire. Maybe that's like, maybe that's a very core thing of humanity and like us evolving fire kind of like sidelong with...
You don't have an extraordinary passion for fire.
Exactly, right? I've been covering Wade's face this entire time with my hands, so...
Oh, hey, I'm still here.
Hey, you're in that camera, probably.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, it was so nice. It was so nice. And it's meaningless because we didn't need the fire to survive. It's a cabin, but it had like air conditioning and heating. We didn't need to do it, but it was something so interesting about the puzzling of it and the thinking about it and be like, how can I get this freaking damp wood dry? Like trying it,
I put it in the oven.
I should have. That would have really... Man, our ancestors, whenever they had damp wood, they just put it in the oven.
The Airbnb owner comes to their smoldering leftovers of their cabin. They find the logbook with an entire Distractible episode of points in it. Like, man, what the hell happened here?
That particular episode looks like such a manifesto because it's a bunch of rectangles and a few of them are colored in, and like they just have W and B parentheses S in there for self. It's just like it looks really psychotic. And a bunch of lightning bolts that really, really look alarmingly when I was looking at them, thinking about it, they look like the Nazi double S symbol. It's not great, like what's going on there. But I hope that people understand it's lightning bolts. Okay, it's about a shotgun, but it's...
Is there like a detailed drawing of the shotgun in Excel?
No.
Did you cut pictures out of magazines to...
No. So anyway, fire. Yeah, maybe you should start firing.
Okay, so our fireplace is a gas fireplace, but we do have a fire, like a little fire pit area. And my family got us one of those, I think they're called Solo Stove, where it's like the smokeless fire pit for our deck. Mm-hmm. So I do want to set that up and like start using it. I just need to go out and clean off some of the deck cushions and stuff. We bought these like nice covers for our patio furniture, and then like, you know me, they were in the box. So like this winter I was like, man, I really should cover them. But like, what do you do when the covers are in a box?
What do you do?
On the floor of your office?
I put them in the garage in the box. So,
That's so good for you, man. That's so good for you.
Hey, I am me. It's weird. I used to be very hands-on. Like my grandpa, whenever I was growing up, was very much like, hey, we're going to go change this tire. We're going to go change brakes. We're going to go work on the engine of this car. We're going to go do this. And like everything he did is like we had to do it the hard way. And I think I don't know, instead of adopting that, I went the opposite way. I was like, but what if I do nothing? I used to be very good at things. Like my mom had me replace her kitchen faucet. I replaced like all the light fixtures and fans and stuff.
You're allowed to do that still.
I know I could, but like, effort. My mom didn't ask me to do it, so I don't have to.
See, the thing is, I think you actually like effort because you put a lot of effort into what you do.
I do, but it's like I don't put a lot of effort into what I'm doing. I just do a lot of things. I spend effort spending my time. I don't put effort into like making one good thing. It's like a whole bunch of crap.
Damn.
Most of what we do is meaningless. Me building that fire didn't mean anything. It was just very satisfying. In the grand scheme of things, you know, all the effort I put into a movie, it's really not meaningful. Maybe, hopefully, it could inspire someone to go make something. But at the end of the day, it's like most of what we do isn't going to amount to anything.
No, that's fair. And I wouldn't say I'm like unhappy. It's not like I'm miserable doing what I do. I'm pretty happy. It's just I know that there are things I used to do or could do or should do that I still don't. Like we've had a light bulb out in the garage. I literally like have the bulb. I would just go out and replace it. But I don't think about it until I'm leaving the house like at night. It's like, man, I need to replace that. And I get back completely out of my mind.
Do you feel like there's stuff you want to do?
I mean,
Like
well, so
you
right
left-
now I've been telling, so I don't know if this is healthy or not, but I've been eating one meal a day. I eat one big meal a day.
Hell yeah.
OMAD.
Oh,
I was
man.
going to, when I was at my healthiest, I was probably around 205 pounds. And I'm up to like 254 right now.
That's not how OMAD works. That's not how it works.
OMAD.
You go down on OMAD.
I think he's leading up to starting OMAD.
Oh, right, okay.
So I've just
This is the
started, yeah.
context.
So I was doing 2 big meals a day, then I was snacking, doing like sugary stuff. Starting about 3 days ago, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like 1 big meal a day, eat whatever I want, try to make sure I get some fruits and vegetables in there. But ultimately, like if I want a steak, I'll have a steak. If I want chicken, I'll have chicken, whatever. And I'm trying to get more exercise into, so like my nephews that are now like in their early 20s have been coming over on like Mondays. We've been playing basketball. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna cut back on eating a bit. I'm gonna have my 1 meal. I'm gonna try to get more activity in, like more basketball stuff like that in. Now that Ginger's like recovered, her weight's down, she actually doesn't mind going on walks as much. So it's like, okay, take the dogs on some walks. There's some like parks and stuff we can drive to around. So it's kind of like, I want to go out and be a bit more active. I just have to get away from some of the gaming addiction. Because like whenever I have any free time, it's like, dude, that's Diablo time. That's this time. I need to focus my mind into, oh, okay, I can go to the gym, I can go to the park, I can go play basketball, I can go do that kind of stuff. I just need to reorient my mind to go out and do physical activity rather than just sit around.
I've always been kind of overweight since I stopped playing football in high school, so it's like always been an issue. But it's surprisingly hard when everything we do revolves around a computer and like a desk or a couch with a laptop or something. To remember like, oh yeah, I could just go out. Like I could just go for a walk. It's not like I have to go to the gym and do the hardest workout I've ever done. But it's either like I'm going to the gym and I'm doing the program, or I'm like, fuck it. If I'm not going to go to the gym.
I think that's where the trick is, because with the fire, that's a one and done thing. You build the fire and you're done. I win. I did it. And that's the problem with games. You win the round or you get the next thing and you're like, there's really distinct landmarks of progress to happen. But in all the other boring shit, there's none of that. Like, yeah, you have a goal at the end of it and you do this and you lose X amount of weight or you can lift X amount of pounds, and some people can think of it that way. But most of the time, what me and a lot of people like me crave is that instant satisfaction of, boom, I did it. I crested the toughest mountain. You put a huge challenge in front of me and I'm just like, fuck yeah, let me at it. But doing that every day is the hard part. That's the impossible task.
Yeah. Games also have changed. Like when we were growing up, Sega Genesis games, like there was a start, there was an end, and there wasn't like, even earlier consoles, like there wasn't always a save feature. So it's like you start playing a game like Frogger on Atari, when you turn it off, it's like you have to start over again.
How old are you?
How old are you?
We're not that old.
Okay, well, I had one Atari, or I had an Intellivision, I guess. My grandparents had an Intellivision.
What the fuck is that?
Intellivision?
Okay, well, I know what Intellivision is, but I didn't have one.
My grandparents had one,
What is the Intellivision?
It's a very, you don't know, isn't it,
No.
what is it, Coleco Intellivision?
I think something like that.
It's
It's been 20
What
years.
words are you saying?
It's one of those it was a competitor with like the early Atari consoles. Intellivision was an early one. It had a really goofy controller. Wasn't Intellivision the one where the controller had like...
It looks like a big, thick remote, and there's a place where you slide a piece of like plastic over this number pad, and that piece of plastic would have the controls for that game.
Oh, okay.
So like if I was playing like a baseball game, I would slide it in. It's like, okay, this is to hit, this is to run, whatever. If I was playing, there's like a Dungeons and Dragons game where you'd like go to like different mountains and go and like fight rats and dragons and stuff. And that one had its own like control pad, but the way you do is you hold your controller, which is wired to the console, you slip out your old plastic for whatever game you were playing, you put in the Dungeons and Dragons one, and then it's like, okay, these are the buttons.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, ColecoVision is not of our childhood. It is of, like, almost our parent. Oh, no. My dad was probably, like, in his 20s, 30s when that came out.
In my mind, like, I grew up with that kind of thing, and I had the Sega too, but, like, even Sega, like, if you played The Lion King on Sega, there was no save feature as far as I know. You either beat Scar or else you're starting over the next time you turn it on.
Dude, I only ever played The Lion King on a Sega when my dad would take me to the grocery store, and they used to have the kids area where you could drop your kids off at the front of the store and then go shop in peace.
They still got that at Walmart somewhere.
They still do that?
Yeah, they still got some.
They have it at IKEA. It's like crazy at IKEA, but I used to just go in there, and the like girl who worked would just be like, "Oh, you want to play the Sega, don't you?" Like, yeah, turn it on. Turn on The Lion King.
But even whenever games had saves, it's like games still had a starting and an ending point, whereas I don't know if WoW was the first one, but like MMOs were like one of the earlier things that made it where like, okay, this is live service. We're going to keep adding stuff so you can keep doing stuff and playing. I mean, Diablo 2, I guess, to some extent did that. That was kind of a Blizzard thing.
EverQuest was the first one, I think.
For me, it was shooters.
Yeah.
The moment I could play, I played
okay.
the first Call of Duty online. The first time I ever did that, I was like, oh.
The original Black Ops or Modern Warfare 2 was one of those was the first ones I ever played online of Call of Duty, which was probably, mid 2000s?
But you remember, I played COD 4 in our dorm. You were trying to sleep 4 feet away. And I was sitting playing COD 4 on the little TV in our dorm room.
Somehow, I don't ever remember that bothering me. Oh, I remember something I got to bring up from our college days that Amy was wondering if you remembered this.
Yep.
When I was playing World of Warcraft back then, do you remember how I downloaded this bot that would play my character for me?
Yeah.
And there was an alarm that would go off if it suspected like a GM was watching me or something catastrophic. Do you remember ever at like midnight or 2 a.m. just a giant alarm going, brah, 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 brah?
Oh,
okay, so
I found that sound.
Yeah.
And for several years after we lived together, that was my wake-up sound. I found that and put it on every phone that I had. I put it on as like a little, not MP3, what were they? MIDI file or something.
Oh, yeah,
that sound haunted my dreams for a long time.
I remember waking up like the bombs were dropping, like it was nuclear apocalypse, and I was like,
you can't lose your character, you gotta run.
I really thought like I would go to jail if I got caught with this thing. I really thought. So when it went off and I get to my computer, I'm like, no, anything but this, I confess. And my character was running into a rock. Like it was just like straight up running in a rock, and I was like, oh, that's fine. And it didn't even do it well. It died half of the time. It was like botting back then was just abysmally bad, so not worth it.
Now we've got AI.
Yeah, real live AI.
Have you ever heard of the ship of Theseus?
Man, people are craving the old ads.
We used to do whole like extended sessions of just bullshitting ads.
We had a minute of ads, and we would spend half an hour on it.
We'd spend longer than the recording session for the episode on ads.
Yeah.
And for those who are wondering, we want to get back to there. We really do.
I forgot we were recording just now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's
looked
kind
at
of
the camera, I was like, what are you doing?
That's kind of the vibe, yeah.
Hey, man, I'm here. I did not think that we peaked when we did that Meteor Fall. I was like, dude, we're going to so many
people
things like
still
this.
are like, God, the Meteor ads.
I thought that was like, even when we were recording, I was like, we've had better bits than this.
Yeah, no, I remember thinking like, oh, that's a little forced.
Yeah.
That's okay. It works.
Great through thread, but like I was like, oh, we're gonna think of such better
Or the
scenarios.
one,
I was
the
like,
one where you were the spy in the vent.
Yeah.
I remember when we did that. And you didn't have the effect on your voice because the editors did that. But even when we recorded that, I was kind of like, oh, should we do a backup? That was kind of funny, but also it's really strained.
One of the companies we were with, I don't know if it was when the Spotify, if it was before or whatever, but I remember them saying like, yeah, we were looking and like you're the only podcast we know of where people go back to listen to the ads. Like no one else does that. They don't skip your ads and they go back to listen to them again. I do think that we know our audience and they enjoy our stupidity.
There was the video that Jenny Nicholson made.
Oh yeah, the 5-hour
Have you seen
failure of the Disney Star Cruiser Hotel?
I'm aware of it. I've not seen it.
It's a great video and it's a great breakdown, but it talks about it because Disney does this too, where they like everything seems disingenuous because they force all of their partners to speak in terms that no one would ever talk in. They go, have you been to Star Wars Galactic Adventure Star Tours? I can't wait to go on Star Wars Galactic Adventure Star Tours or whatever it is. And it's like no one would ever talk about it. They call it Star Wars Land.
I did think that was really funny. The clips that she put together of the like podcast that they have where it's so tightly scripted, it's like tough to watch. And you can even see on their faces, they're like, Yeah, I was walking around through Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and I went to, and they're just like, they don't believe it.
Like, the audience isn't stupid. They know what's going on. They know what the deal is. We get money. We hawk products. All we want to do is make it worth their time.
Yeah.
Well, there are some marketing teams out there that do it well, because there's commercials like from when I'm growing up that I still remember, like the Nutri-Grain commercial. Like Nutri-Grain, let's be honest, there's no nutrition in that bar.
It's a fancily hidden candy bar.
But I still remember ooh, yeah, I feel great. I don't even know if that's Nutri-Grain, but I still think I can quote that whole commercial because it was so memorable. I'm not even saying it's good. Like Starburst, berries and cream, berries and cream. Like a lot of that had its own
Mentos,
resurgence.
man. I still know the Mentos jingle.
That became a
What is it? I don't even know it.
You don't know the Mentos? So the 90s Mentos commercials?
Yeah.
And it was always like
I
some
don't
weird
know.
circumstance people were getting into.
I don't know the words, but
Doesn't
the
matter
song.
what comes, fresh goes better with life. With Mentos fresh and full of life.
Like, I don't
get. Oh, I was going to do the whole thing.
Oh, I don't know when I'm going to get an annuity, but I know that JD Wentworth has got my
Call
back.
JD Wentworth.
You need cash. It's your money. Use it when you need it.
877 cash now. Like, I know that.
877 cash now.
And when I get an annuity, I don't even know what an annuity is. But when
It's
I,
a form of settlement.
He always reminded me of the lawyer from Law and Order. The way like he looked. I always thought of like McCoy. Is that his name?
I don't remember a
I
commercial
don't know
where he
Law and
was
Order,
in
but
it. Is he still
I
alive?
always remember the ones with the people singing on the bus and the one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what would
yeah.
be a hell of a follow-up for them? Commercials explaining what annuities are to people. That would be so fucking funny. That it's just like, hi, we're JG Wentworth. We've talked a lot about how it's your money and you should have it now. But we realize you might not know what an annuity is or how to get one. And then it's just like an infomercial.
Is it JG Wentworth?
JG Wentworth.
I thought it was JD Wentworth. Oh, no.
Wentworth. Yeah, JG.
I was
You would have found
JD
it.
Wentworth.
You would have found
Yeah,
it.
you probably would have.
It's good enough.
I don't know who thinks. Like, if Intel came back around,
He's
right?
waiting you. He wants to talk about nerd stuff.
I do want to talk about nerd. You want to
Go.
talk about nerd stuff?
I'm in a hot tub, dude.
Look.
We're talking about capitalism here.
There's something crazy with AMD's resurgence. It is. It's crazy because it applies for gamers. Because Ryzen processors, I wish I'd have bought like stock or something when I was out because AMD stock was like super low. There's a whole NVIDIA thing going on, but it was like when I heard about Ryzen, AMD stock was like at $2, and now it's at like $190,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh fuck, man. But all that aside, their processors are actually really good. Like the Threadripper for work stuff, like what I do with some visual effects and video editing, it's super good. Intel doesn't even have a product that can compare. Like it's crazy what they're doing, and I like Intel, what they're doing. But it's like it's a company to company. You make them fight. That's good for us. That's good for the people buying the shit.
And for the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
Plus, Shaq likes the General.
Oh wow. Well, if he likes it, and he likes icy hot, I prefer Ceylon Pass.
Salon Pass.
No, Ceylon Pass.
okay.
I think
All
that's
I
it.
know is the best part of waking up is when there's Folgers in my cup.
You know, and honestly, like I haven't drank Folgers in a long time, but my dad always did Folgers. When he opened the giant tub, you know, the worst way you could have coffee in a tub that's going to last a year.
Big dry tub that never ends.
Yeah, but when he cracked it open, like the smell of coffee, I didn't drink when I was a kid, but the smell of it, man, as a kid, I could have taken another path because I loved the smell of coffee and cigarettes. Like I was like on the threshold of a different road for me, but you know.
I will say, like, not brewed coffee, but the coffee ground Folgers coffee cans, like that would be a nostalgic coffie smell for me because the coffee cans, after they were emptied, my family hung on to them. They used some for like storing grease
Those
or whatever
cans
else.
were the best.
Yeah.
But I used them. I used to love the outdoors. Like I was always outside trying to catch like frogs and turtles and bugs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those Folgers cans, I cannot tell you how many times I got to catch a creature, put it in a Folgers can for like an hour, poke a bunch of holes in the lid to like keep it in there, and then like peer in there, try to give it some food, and then like let it go because whatever. But
There's
those were my
probably
savior.
still like rusty Folgers tins in my parents' garage holding nails and stuff and sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Actually having products with containers that you could reuse, that is kind of less of a thing now.
Dude, before everyone had, you could just buy batteries to recharge your electronics at everywhere. My buddy actually found this dude who was making home printed PCBs where you could take a specific Altoids tin. It wasn't the big one, it was the Altoids mini tin.
Yeah.
You could hot glue this PCB in and cut a hole in the side and then put 2 AA's in it, and it was a battery. It was a mobile battery where you could plug a USB into the PCB, would charge it from AA's, and you could get like rechargeable AA's and just charge them at home, or you could just pop new ones in. I had that way before I ever had like a self-contained, lithium ion recharging battery. It was hot glued and cut with tin snips, and it was an Altoids tin. I still have it. It's just I don't use it because AA's are not as practical, but it lasted forever.
I shouldn't mention this because it's like this leads to a lot of fires.
Yep.
Every Ryobi Days promotion, which is coming up nowadays, I got to check in on that.
Yep.
Not sponsored, but will be if you pay me money.
Depending on what you say next.
Yeah, we'll see.
So there is the 3D printing community has opened up so many doors because it's exactly what you're talking about. But with Ryobi Valley specifically, the batteries are so cheap that you can take them. Don't do this. Crack them open, harvest the battery cell. Don't. And then there are so many 3D printable designs where you can have battery configurations for powering anything. You can convert batteries from one configuration to another with Home Depot supplies. You can have those batteries. You can assemble those batteries into a house-sized backup generator. And we talked about this a little bit on the podcast because I was just scratching the surface of it. You can do so much with this shit. The batteries are a loss leader so that they can sell their tools, right? Yeah. Man, there's so much. The DIY community is exploding, literally, because of 3D printing and they have things
who's
you
that
can do.
YouTube guy who always like burns himself and lights things on fire with electricity?
Right. The Indian guy.
What is his name? Oh, crap. He just did a bunch of stuff with Linus because they did like an upgrade to his setup.
Yeah.
I love our compulsion every time the boat gets near. We must reach out, grab it, and I've noticed we're doing it the whole time, but I do like it.
It's the boat episode.
That's true.
Oh shit, we got to come up with rules.
I don't know. Are there any rules you guys have been dying to implement or get rid of?
Ooh, I have an idea. This is crazy, right? Okay, but hear me out.
Rules? I like that.
No, it's regarding the company that is Distractible. What if we take Distractible public?
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
We create shares of it and we sell it on the stock market. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, basically. It's called an IPO.
Yes.
So if someone buys more of Distractible than we have, it's just their podcast?
Yeah, well, you don't let that happen.
We don't sell that much,
you
right?
sell a set amount, and we own, 51%.
So then the listeners are incentivized for us to do more ads, right? This has never gone bad anywhere in the history of
IPOs
editing.
are exclusively a good thing.
Only a good thing. Then all the people who own the company definitely want to listen, they want to support us, and they want us to succeed and also never do anything that doesn't make money. All in favor?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm torn between that and starting Distracticoin, because I feel like we really have a lot to offer the crypto space as well.
You're right, and they're about to go to the moon.
Everybody get involved, because this is going to be huge.
It could be huge.
It's going to be huge. We're involved.
I know that like FaZe went public, right?
What is that?
It's the
FaZe Clan.
FaZe Clan.
Oh, okay.
Gaming.
They did something, and then it didn't.
They went public, and then their stock price slowly died until they went unpublic because they were worth nothing. Now, whatever Nvidia's doing, we need to do that.
Right.
They're doing so well. They're about to do a stock split or something.
Yeah.
Their stock price is so high. They're about to do some stuff.
As long as I can still talk about like boobs and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll be like the Green Bay Packers of podcasts.
Are they a public NFL team?
Oh yeah, do you not know that?
No, I didn't know that.
That's the thing. The Green Bay Packers are the only pro sports team that I know of, and in America and maybe in the world, but probably not, where they sell shares. And so the Packers are actually owned, I don't know if it's primarily, but they're owned in part by the fans.
Oh.
You can buy a share of the Green Bay Packers, so you're personally invested in the team.
Huh. Oh, that's nice.
They're not like publicly traded on the stock market or something. But
Oh,
it's like
I see.
They are, because you don't actually have to do that to sell stock.
Ooh.
But privately selling stock is, I don't know how that's regulated, and it's not as popular because you want to be listed on, on the New York Stock
So everyone
Exchange
can
or
buy, and sell,
like-
never sell. Diamond hands
Yeah,
only.
never
Only
sell.
diamond
Never
hands can
buy.
buy Distractible.
Oh, okay.
If we make a rule right now and put it in the Constitution that you can't sell.
This is a legally binding rule in our definitely legally binding Constitution.
How much is a distractible share?
How many shares do we have?
I don't know, there's 3 of us, so more than that.
Well, it's worth whatever
Greater
people
than
pay
3
for
at
it.
least,
Yeah.
So if we sell like 1/1,000,000th of the company that is Distractible, and someone pays $1,000, we're $1 trillion company. We're $1 billion. I can do
Oh,
math.
yeah.
We're $1 billion
That'd be
company.
a good valuation.
That'd be a good-
strong
Does
valuation.
that help us, or does that mean we're just kind of like Truman Show, where we're sitting in the hot tub, we're like, so dude, I gotta tell you, brought to you by Cisco, the other day.
Oh, Truman, why don't you just have some Ovaltine? Delicious chocolatey Ovaltine. And he would just sit there like...
You know,
"What-
it's
what are
funny you
talking
mentioned
to?"
that word. Mark, why did you text me about Ovaltine?
Why did I text you about Ovaltine?
When was this?
Like
You weren't part
a
of
week
it.
or
Yeah, I
two
wasn't
ago.
on it when-
I was streaming, I think. I was doing something, and I was like busy, and Mark was just like, "Let me tell you about Ovaltine" or something. I was like, "Why? What? Do you know what Ovaltine
What did I
is?"
text you? I don't even remember.
I don't know, but whenever, so it's funny. Whenever I hear from you, I'm like, "Oh no, either something's horribly wrong, or it's a bit I'm making content." Those are the times I hear from Mark.
So I texted him. This is May 20th at 6:19 p.m. Hey, do you like Ovaltine? IDK, what it even is? LOL.
That's what I
Haha.
said.
And I said, haha. Yeah, come on, man. When did you imbibe your first teen? And he said, lol, what?
I still know what Ovaltine is.
What is
I mean-
this? What happened, Mark? Did
So
you
I-
have a stroke?
No,
Why did you ask him about Ovaltine?
I asked him when he imbibed his first teen. Okay, because me and Tyler were talking. We were talking about how maybe you're older than we think you are. And so I used it as
Tyler's older than me.
I used it as a test because Ovaltine was in like a Christmas Story, and I didn't even know if it was still a thing. And I was wondering if you had drank Ovaltine, it would show your age, but you didn't know it, so I didn't continue with it. So you must
I'm
be
not gonna lie. At first, when you said Ovaltine, I was like, "Is that an ovary product? Is that a feminine?"
an ovary product.
I saw OVA, and my first thought was
Ovary
ovaries. Gotta be something for your ovaries or
like
for
a-
your mouth. Why did I think mouth?
Oral
I think I saw the V. I was like, maybe it's supposed to be an R, but it's oral teen.
Well, we got to come up with one rule before it's over, or we got to change
We
or
get
modify
rid of all the other rules. That's the rule.
all of them.
Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like?
I like the scorekeeping. I think it's
Scorekeeping
funny.
is good. I want more wheel. I totally
want
forgot about the
more
wheel.
wheel?
The wheel was so fun.
The wheel was terrifying.
It almost got you.
I know.
It almost sent you
Oh,
to the
that
Shadow
wheel. I'm thinking about
Realm.
wheels and
I think that we may not have put it in as a rule, but I think every time the wheel is spun, we should add a percentage
No, I like that.
to the
that's a
deadly
good rule
one.
to add.
Yeah.
Every time the wheel is spun, we add a percent. Well, so we have to add 2 because you have to take away from the 2 others.
Right. You have to add 2%.
So add 2% to the.
That's a good point.
Or you could just have it where if you challenge and you lose, you have to spin the wheel. If you challenge and you win, the person you challenged has to spin the wheel.
That's fair.
That
I was
way
gonna-
you're not
I
just
was-
forced to challenge.
That would get more
challenging
will.
is you're just gonna do it willy nilly.
I was going to
Exactly.
go more wild card. What if we throw in a rule to where if you want to challenge the outcome of an episode, you can invoke the wheel rule, but the wheel is not always the same. You can invoke the wheel, but the host gets to make the wheel and spin the wheel. Wait,
But there has to be a set percent for that,
whoever-
right? Because if
Yeah.
you're challenging, you want a fair
So
shot.
yeah, it's not fully fleshed out, but like if you challenge, it's like you get a 10% chance that you just win this episode, but then the host gets to fill the rest of the wheel.
The host that you
Okay.
challenged?
Yeah, so I'm assuming this is like I'm hosting an episode. We've come to the end, and I'm like, and Mark is the winner because he has this, and you can just be like, wheel. I challenge the outcome, wheel, and so you get some set amount of chance of the win will be taken from Mark and given to you. The winner will be switched, but I get to fill in all of the rest of the.
Is this replacing the red flag?
No, I was
rule?
just adding this as more of like a wild card, more wheel action, but it's a little more loosey-goosey.
Okay, well, what if we do this? Because it's been difficult to keep up with the polls and the red flags winning.
Yeah.
What if they win, they get like an Uno reverse wheel kind of deal where they can then have a usable item because they did the audience was on their side, so the audience gifted them Hunger Games style.
Yeah.
You get.
You get sponsors.
Maybe that's what we need. we need rich audience members to
Have things
fund.
flying with drones while we're doing the episode and
Yes.
to help us
Yes.
in time of need.
Yes. Yes. What if
Audience, can you build us a Hunger Games style arena to do the podcast?
So this ties into this idea that I had, a really stupid idea that had. Well, maybe it's not my idea. It's like every citizen of the United States of America gets one of these per year, where they get a "I'm in an emergency" clause for their car, and they get a wee woo. So you get one wee woo a year, where you get to put a thing on your roof, and you get all the privileges of a normal like police car or ambulance. You get one a year. And so you use your wee-woo when you really, really need it. You can't gift it to anybody else.
I
That's
use my
tricky.
wee woo a lot.
But what if all the audience members have one? That would be too much.
I just don't want the rules to get to the way of like us just having our conversational podcast episodes and our normal games. That's the only thing I don't want to interfere with.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going for, is keeping it simple, too. I was just trying to add more wheels without really adding any complexity to it. There would have to be a limit on the number of times, because then you would potentially just always challenge the outcome. Unless the host just made the wheel really horrific.
I think the wheel is horrific as it is because it incrementally gets
No,
more
that
riskier.
is a funny... That's in the Constitution.
I don't know what happens. You have to
For
host
sure.
a solo episode. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, one-man show, written by the
other
others.
two, as a bonus
So it's like a
episode.
fully scripted thing? Or?
Yeah.
It can be scripted. You could put in, improvise this part if
Yes.
you wanted to.
Yeah.
But with direction.
And
something.
now Wade will improvise a song about his pants, and
Oh, okay.
it will be 3 minutes, and he will have to hum it to the tune of
I don't want to be on either end of that.
Andy.
No,
How did
that's
you
sort
write
of the
that or
idea.
perform it? Terrible.
The bad outcome for the wheel punishes everyone. It just punishes one person a little bit more than the
Yeah.
other two.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bad for
Sure.
all of us.
Yeah, I want it to go off at least once before this podcast inevitably crashes and burns because one of us does something terrible.
Or because Wade and I can't stand each other anymore, and we
That's true.
finally talk about it in the open.
Yes,
That's true.
exactly.
We disagreed about Judge Judy once, and now I don't know that I can stand you.
Do you even know her full name?
Judith Steinbeck.
It's
Wow.
close-ish.
Judith Steinert.
No, that's worse.
Judge Judith Stoppenheimer.
Now, do you get why I didn't give you the point? Do you get why I sided with him?
No, you did side with me.
You ended up giving him the point, but it did. Well, the thing was,
It didn't matter, yeah.
You won either way, so it really was pointless.
We've got the adding 2% to the danger
That's
of
a
the
good
wheel.
rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think the random every episode could have a wheel kind of interferes with the flag. We already have a system
Yeah,
for
that's true.
that.
That's true.
I think that we should invoke our world government president thing where we randomly select one of the audience members. We send them a phone, a burner phone, and when we have a dispute, we call them and they have to answer and settle our dispute right then and there. And when the call's over, it blows up.
How are you rigging that?
Yeah, the only part of that I don't like is I'm not sure how to rig a phone to blow up like that. That sounds tough.
All
but I'm
right,
sure
okay.
we can figure that
Can we
out.
just
All right,
pour milk
okay.
on it or something?
All right, okay, never mind. What if we...
No, I really like that. Is there a tool that exists? I mean, we could kind of do this with Discord, where it's like we have a dispute and we just put the call out, and whoever shows up first, hop on a call, present our sides. They are the judge and the executioner. We present
love
our
it.
sides. They make a decision, and then they've done their duty to the podcast.
And then they're banned from listening forever.
yeah, then they're banned from the Discord. We block
Yes.
them on social media.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to prevent them from listening,
Yes.
they're done now.
You guys lost
Absolutely.
me. Everything that takes effort.
For how fun I think this idea actually is, it would be doable, I think. We would just need to make like you could make a Discord channel and just put out a call and be like, hey, whoever's around, we got a dispute, and then just pick someone.
And the reason we can't just talk is because you couldn't let it go about Judge Judy.
Yeah,
we were
no,
trying to
right.
talk
we
through.
need an arbiter here.
We need an arbiter.
Because
I'll be the arbiter. I know when I'm being treated fairly.
But you have to blow up afterward. He would be banned. Well, actually,
I'll blow.
Oh, yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
That's a way to settle a dispute permanently. I settle a dispute, then I'm gone.
That
As long
would-
as I get to stay in the shareholders.
I mean, your estate would, I guess, theoretically.
what if we put on the wheel a 1% chance that the person is banned forever from the podcast, so they have to be replaced? That would be devastating. That would be devastating.
That would be tricky.
What if then they have to create a sister podcast on their own that exists alongside?
Focusable.
Reach a certain number of listens or something before they're invited back.
They have to get success like Vanishing to the Woods.
You have to do it yourself.
You have to get your own podcast up to 100,000 listeners concurrent.
so
before you
funny.
Love
Tragic
it.
for one of us.
I love Exile. God,
that's really funny.
Oh man.
How would the podcast go with just two of us? Would you guys?
I mean, we would just have to make do until.
I always assume
Yeah.
it's me that's gone. Is that fair?
You volunteered to leave.
I said I'd blow up. Maybe I wear some of that gel and I cover myself in firecrackers or something.
That should do it.
Yeah, the gel is good for explosions. It's not just fire.
Yeah.
I'm bald, so it's not like my hair will catch on fire.
You got a lot of beard.
I do.
That's not hair. That's fur.
Thank you.
How about you have to start a separate podcast that's all about stock picks since we're here. Give us your stock pick. What stock should people out there invest right now?
Oh man, dude, people like trees. You know, there's probably some trees you can treeme.com.
You know what I've heard is really hot right now? Eventbrite. People are really coming back around on Eventbrite.
I don't know what that is. Is that the thing where you stuck? That's Lite
It's
Bright.
an Evite service.
Ooh. All right, so we need more official. This is the boat episode. This is the biannual boat episode.
Rules.
You can remove a rule. What, you want to remove a rule?
Like Exile.
Exile's very fun.
Whoever does the challenge, there's a 1% chance that you get exiled, and you have to like start a YouTube channel or a podcast or something and reach a certain milestone before you're invited back to the show. It could be more broad. You have to start a social media account or a YouTube channel or a TikTok or something and reach a certain milestone.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be something where the viewers have to, if enough viewers would easily find it, and you know, it's like you have to get 1,000 views, which is not to mock anyone who's trying to make it. That's a lot of views, but we have enough listeners. I feel like they would make that happen, right? They would be like, we have to find it so Wade can come back to the podcast. But then you have to make content on there, right? In order to get the thing.
It is always me that's banished in these scenarios.
You put it out there. I'm just playing along. I don't know. It could be me. I'm the one who has bad luck with things like spinning wheels and things.
Yeah.
I like this way this boat came to point at me too whenever I said that.
There needs to be due process, right? I feel like for something as this profound, there needs to be some due process.
You're losing me all this effort. I think we have a biannual fart joke we have to tell. That's my rule.
I'm not opposed to that.
No, that's pretty good.
Every boat episode, one of us has to tell a fart joke.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, cool.
That's mortalized.
Let's officialize the every wheel spin 2% gets added to the bad thing.
Yeah.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Those two things definitely added. I think maybe we should not get too ahead of ourselves because we do have to do this biannually.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we should pick the exile thing or maybe the listener as judge thing. Go with one of those as like an added twist.
I like the listener as judge
Yeah,
I
thing.
like that
one.
too. I think that's funny.
And then they go in exile, and they cannot return until they get a certain number of followers.
We'll know if they do.
And this will be great because we'll make a clause that we'll get 50% ownership of whatever they make, and then they get to exile.
Sign this document. Half of whatever you make. What's your job? Half of it's ours.
God, think of how far we could go if we could commit fraud.
You can, just not legally.
All right, so how many per quarter for the judge, audience judge?
You know what? I want this to happen a lot.
No more than once an episode, but
It can't be 2 episodes in a row.
That's good.
So there has to at least be a 1 episode gap.
Yeah.
So what do we do in case there's something unfair?
You better have a red flag after something.
Yeah,
you better have,
that's when you throw the red flag.
other meetings.
This is for smaller occurrences where it's like the Judge Judy thing, where I'm willing to arbitrate, but there seems to be no one that's willing to give ground.
Well, it's not fair if one of us tries to arbitrate between the other.
Exactly,
because we all have our biases.
I'm
against
biased.
Wade.
Yeah.
I mean, our viewers probably will have biases too. But
That's okay, but
No,
because
they're all people of integrity.
that's
would not.
Absolutely, they know who they are and what they're willing to do, and this will prevent anyone, because what we really want to prevent is anyone spiraling into a dictatorship and starting down a path.
Why are you mentioning that right now specifically?
Because we're talking about making a rule about it.
Yeah, we're making a rule to prevent that.
You're here because you're on the show now.
Yeah, but I was about to do that.
Well, don't.
Right this moment.
No, like next time I get the host, I was gonna like take over. And
Oh,
be
that's
evil
right.
and be-
Right.
Forgot about that.
Coincidental.
I feel like we need a person to come in and rule on that.
Well, we haven't passed it into law yet.
We haven't passed it in the law. Okay, all in favor of once, but not every, not two
episodes in a row.
Yeah, non-consecutive audience judge blowing up the phone thing.
And we'll work out exactly how we're going to figure out how to do that, but it'll probably involve some kind of social media.
And some kind of execution method.
Yeah.
Because we also have to make sure it gets picked up. So I don't know if our program would pick up a caller on like another program or not.
We can
What?
work it out. I don't know
That's
if you
true.
remember, we talked to German Jesus.
That's
Yeah.
true. We did have our first guest was Mark's lens retriever.
So belittling, man. Why you gotta belittle?
No, the person's fine. It was like the circumstance.
Person fine, just everything he stands for.
No, like you getting the first guest to be someone who was running an errand for you is kind of like that's what it took to have a guest.
Oh God.
It's fine.
I think that was a sign.
Yeah, you guys are tipping things against me. That's what the sign was.
I
Look.
don't feel like it's against you. If anything, this is
Everything's
great for
against
you.
me. Have you not learned that my whining and complaining means
But
everything's against me?
we're talking about bringing the people into the show.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care
who
about that.
love you and will defend you even when it doesn't make sense,
Okay.
and they acknowledge
Rule:
that.
whoever we bring in has to side with me.
No, see, but that kind of defeat. I mean,
Whoever we bring in has to do one of the ad reads.
Whoever we bring in has to pay us and sponsor the episode.
I like that.
You gotta be rich to be unbiased.
Yeah,
All right, all in favor?
yeah, sure.
Aye.
I guess.
Except all the rich stuff I get. Oh, we eyed it. Fuck.
No, anything that was for comedy value alone, doesn't count.
But what if it's like comedy value, but unless?
Have your bank
We're
statements
not
ready just in
doing
case we call you.
Okay, are we done making? Can we get rid of a bunch of rules now?
What rule do you want
I
to
don't
get
know
rid
any
of?
of them. Can we get rid of the ones I don't know?
That's all the time we have.
We'll make a pocket constitution and a pocket bill of rights, and you'll have all of the amendments.
What we'll do is
We'll send it to you for free, buddies.
It's going to have extra pages in the back so people can update their constitution. But when you make an amendment to the constitution in your pocket constitution, you have to date it, sign it, every change. And if you are removing a rule, if it gets removed, you have to remove it with red ink pen.
Yep.
Sign and date in red ink. Red ink is specific for
It's just
removals.
common requirements.
Yes.
Mark's favorite color is red.
It's like he doesn't even know me.
This was nice though. Well, most of it. Then we had to talk about rules.
Well, if you remembered any of the rules, you could remove them.
Mark,
Anyone who's still with me on the subreddit, tell us about how much you hate
Mark,
rules.
I think we just need to use, like you do with toddlers, we need to use like code words.
Okay.
We shouldn't bring up the rules of the show in front of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But we can talk. We should invent a little code language, and then we can discuss what's happening. And he won't have, because he only gets worked up when we talk about the rules.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
pattern.
Yeah,
what's
that's
happening
true.
here.
Yeah. Even if a rule's in his favor, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, it's more to think about. I have to remember. I just want to hang out with my friends and chat.
What we'll do is when there's people that get on, we'll tell him they're a distant relative, and he won't know the difference.
Yeah.
We found your third cousin thrice removed or more.
You found Splena?
Yeah. Here's Splena right now. Unable to deliver. Uh-oh.
Would you like some toesy touching?
Thanks, man. I heard some backup batteries because for my solar, because my house has solar, but I had the sneaking suspicion that it wasn't working. I got confirmation that it wasn't working because my power bill.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. You were like, I told you what I was paying for electricity. You're like, I don't think it's working.
Did I tell you what my power bill was?
No.
$800 a month.
What are you running?
No, it's because I put in the server, the storage server. That's what's really doing it, because the storage server is by itself. It's like 3 computers running 24/7, all like over 1,000-watt computers running 24/7. It's like if you had your microwave going, if you had 3 microwaves going constantly, because I have a computer that I run all the time, and that is bad enough, but you guys know about that.
Yeah.
But putting in a server in your house is unbelievable. So I had the suspicion that the solar wasn't helping because my power bill was $800 a month.
It's just more than most people's rent.
I mean, I will
Yeah,
say,
it was
when
exorbitant.
we lived in California, we got close to that, and we didn't have a server. We were just trying not to die in the heat. Our house is poorly insulated, and so you had to run the AC at ridiculous levels to keep it.
I don't think I've ever paid more than like
in the high
$230.
70s, low 80s inside the house.
I feel like $230 is the most I've ever paid for an electric bill.
I mean, California is a bit pricier for...
The real thing is it scales. So you can go from like last month's bill was $300. This month it's more than double because you reach the like next tier, and it goes from like this much per kilowatt hour to this much per kilowatt hour, and so the expense, it goes up not exponentially, but it goes up at an increasing rate.
I forgot to mention, it's also the server, and because I had this set in my garage, and so I have a lot of lights that are going, and I'm bad about turning them off.
We have a decent sized house, and your electric bill is 4 times ours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Really
That's why
hope...
he's going to move to Ohio.
That's,
A
well,
windmill put it. Oh,
solar.
that just pierced me like I bled out. In the hot
Editors.
No, but that's what I was saying. Like, I have solar. You heard that part, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't think it's
It's not
working.
working, yeah.
Because there's like 40 panels up
And they
there.
confirmed it wasn't working. I'm with you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get a new battery backup with a new
Or just scrap it and get a windmill.
Bob, I'm gonna get a new
Mark, I heard you should get a windmill.
Yeah, windmill, you think? I like it when you say it.
Anyway, that's it. That's the boat episode, I guess.
All right, thank you so much for participating.
You're welcome. Bob at MySkirt, Markiplier, I'm Wade, Minion77 or Lord Minion777. We have merch.
Distractiblestore.com, distractiblestore.com. Why did a jet of water just touch me?
Podcast out.